Hello. How is everyone doing this evening? Hello, night dwellers. How are you? Hello there. I'm dropping anything and everything tonight. Hello. There we go. Got that set. Do, 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 do. Come on in, make yourselves at home.
Someone just decided to create who are your top stalkers on TikTok? Who are your top stalker? Who are your top stalker?
Oh, what's that doing that? Hush, hush, hush. Why in the world would someone look up my top stalkers on TikTok? Does that make any sense? I don't think so. There we go. We are live. Hello, everyone. How was your Thursday? We are close. Close to what, Bryn? Friday. Okay, I think I got that where it needs to be. How is everyone doing? Hey, Marine's daughter. Hey, XJ. Hey, Tammy Weber. Hello, Danis. Hello, Bossman. Shirley. Bossman and then Shirley, not Bossman Shirley. That's not what I meant. Hello, Yvonne. You love scary stories. Welcome. You have came to the right place. Hello, Melanie. Hey, Judy. Hello, Queen Angel. Well, I try. Hello, Amber. Hey, Julie. Hey, Just. Followed you. Hello, Jennifer. Thank you for the follow, Yvonne. Tell me, what kind of stories do you like? Hello, hello, hello. Trying to catch everyone on here if I can. Hey, Amber. Let's start sharing the live, everyone. Tonight is going to be frightening. I have decided to give serial unalivers a night of their own. What do you think about that? Hello. Hey, Mary. I see you and Marine's daughter in there. How are you doing? Hello there, Gracie. How are you? I am doing well. Hey, Cece. Hey, Pom. I tell you, it does my heart such good to see all my night dwellers coming in. Hello, Shelley. Hello, Amy Nicole. Hello, Beverly Bright. Hello, DJ Nikki. Hello, Sue. Hello, Kingfisher. Good to see you back. Hello, Shirley. How are you? So good to see you all. Come on in, make yourselves at home. My name is Bryn Morgan. I'm a horror author. I'm also a lover and therefore a teller of scary stories, paranormal stories, ghost stories, true crime, serial unalivers, Appalachian horror, urban legends. What else? I think we covered it all, right? Go ahead and share with friends, family, neighbors, co-workers, share it on platforms. Get out the word that there is a Twisted Tales Live, Monday through Friday, 8 o'clock p.m. till 10ish. And then if you're a subscriber, another night is about to be added on Sunday night. Subscribers, come on, we'll be chatting. Tomorrow night, 7 o'clock p.m. is meet and greet. Have you ever wanted to come in a box and talk to me before? Tomorrow night is your night. Hello, Pamela. How are you? So glad that you like it, Ebonize. I love your name. Hey, Jim Rocks. So good to see everyone. I think I said hey HJ, but I'm saying it again. Hello there, turtle woman. I love turtles. I love sea turtles and dolphins and sharks. It's always worth it to say hello to XJ twice, isn't it? Yes. I'm gonna make sure that I don't miss you. My eyes are sharp. They miss nothing. And if they do, my night watchers are right on it. Chocolate! Yes, chocolate for sure. I've got it. Butterfingers right here. Half of a chocolate candy bar right here. So I am ready with the chocolate for sure. Oh, and this. So I'm covered on the chocolate. No, Ruby, I have not. Oh, I will have to do that. Oh, you like them, Pamela? It's one of my favorites. It's just the chocolate and whatever else is in there is so good. The third one, this one, Ferrero Rocher. Yeah, those are great. Those are great. So if I have like a chocolatey craving or anything, then we'll start at 8:20. Give time for people to come in. Please go ahead and share this. Let's start tapping that screen. Let's have the highest night of likes. What do you say? Hey, Leslie Marie. But we have to tap, tap, tap. If you like scary stories, consider hitting that follow button and the notification bell and never miss another Twisted Tales Live. Hello, Savage Trucker. How are you? Kayla Louise. Thank you for the follow. Kayla, do you like scary stories? Thank you for sharing. Thank you, thank you. Cindy Minnie, thank you for sharing the live. Janet Cookie, hello. How are you? Hannah, what are your favorite stories? If you all have a request for any story, any scary story, true crime, whatever, put it in the comments. My night watchers are waiting. They will post it in story submissions and it will be told on a future Twisted Tales Live. How is the music? 2 minutes. Hey Tanya, how are you? Hey James, I was going to reach out to you today. I just wanted to say that you are one of the most uplifting, cheerful people I believe that I have ever met. And you never fail to put a smile on my face. And you are just a treasure. And I like how you say ticky-tock. Isn't it? There are just certain people that are born to spread light. He's one of them. Get to know him. Hey Snow Tea, how are you? I love City Mini. I love that name. It just makes me think of like Cinnabons with frosting. Okay, I've got to stop. I've got a story to tell. Hey Eric Jones, how are you? How are you, Snow Tea? How's your day going? Hello, Caroline864. How are you? If you are brand new here and you've never been in the Twisted Tales Live before, we are a loving, warm, safe, welcoming community. There is no judgment here. We want you to come in and enjoy yourselves. We do not allow energy vampires. Come in, get to know the Night Dwellers, become one yourself. I promise, it's safe, except for the stories. And let me know where you're from. Let me know, are you from here in the US? Are you from Europe? Are you from somewhere else in the world? Let us know. Hello, Daryl. Oh my goodness. I made it in time. Daryl is a good friend of mine. Let's make him feel welcome. Maine, New York, Pennsylvania. Wow. Thank you for the star. Virginia. Daryl, do you like scary stories? It's time. Let's keep sharing the live. There have been 3 opportunities to tell this story, and for some reason, I just kept passing over it. But in Twist of Fate, there were 3 people that had mentioned this name this week alone. And something just said to me, Bryn, you have to tell this story. I decided to give this night the name Serial Unaliver. And tonight, I am going to tell you a story that you will never forget. But first, let's prepare. Lower your lights. Lock your doors. Pull your curtains nice and tight. Wrap yourself in your warmest blanket. to avoid the chills that are about to enter your room as I tell the story of Joseph Callinger. Have you ever heard of him? Let me know and your fellow night dwellers in the comments. And let's begin. Let me know, are you ready for this story? Viewers' discretion is strongly advised. In shadows deep, where nightmares play, a father's love would rot, decay. He claimed the voices told him how to carve out pain with solemn vow. A cobbler's hands once shaped the shoe, now stitched a path in bloodied hue. His son beside him, cold and grim, led by the madness born in him. The walls could whisper what they saw, of blades and bondage, death and all. But truth is stranger, darker still. When evil bends even a child's will. So gather close, night dwellers, breathe soft, don't cry. The tale begins with one last sigh of innocence lost in a silent dive. Beginning now on Twisted Tales Live. Chapter 1. The Boy in the Basement. There's always a beginning. There's always a start. Before he was a monster, Joseph Callinger was a boy. Unfortunately, a boy that no one wanted. He was born on December the 11th, 1935 in Philadelphia. Joseph Lee Brenner III was the illegitimate child of a troubled teenage girl. At just 2 years old, I can't even imagine that, his mother abandoned him at a Catholic orphanage. To the Sisters of Charity, Joseph was quiet, strange. A little boy who clung to routine, but he recoiled from their touch. He rarely cried, and that worried them. But nothing worried them as much as the couple who adopted Joseph. Many couples came to see him. They thought that he was quiet, well-mannered, but there was something wrong about him. He didn't smile or laugh. The only couple that took an interest in Joseph Kallinger was Joseph and Anna Kallinger. They were from Austria. They were immigrants. To outsiders, they were a strict and hard-working couple who had been waiting for a child, had had several chances to have a child, but wanted to adopt one into the family of God. To Joseph, they were his nightmare. From the moment that Joseph entered the Kallinger home, almost immediately, the abuse began. The boy was no longer known as Joseph Brennan. He was now Joseph Kallinger, and he belonged to them. Anna, his mother, was cold and volatile, but it was Joseph Sr. who ruled the house like a dictator. If young Joseph even left a shoe out of place, he was beaten with electrical cords. If he spilled even one drop of milk, he was forced to kneel on salt and broken glass. The punishment lasted for hours, and when he was able to stand, they would lock him in a closet. If he cried, if he heard even a sob from the boy, the punishment would start all over again. Sometimes Joseph Sr. would get very angry at Joseph. He would lock him in the basement for days. No lights, no food, no one came. Only the furnace spoke in creaks and groans. And sometimes, Joseph said later, he whispered his name. Joseph. Joseph. Later in life, when he was interviewed and asked about the basement, Kallinger said only this: that's where I met the devil. In the dark. In the pain. In the shadows. That's where I met him. And when Joseph met the devil, he was only 5 years old. Tell me, night dwellers, was Joseph born with evil? Or was evil brought to him? By the time that Joseph was 10, he was deeply isolated. He did not play with other children. He wasn't allowed to do so. He would talk to himself, long conversations with people that no one else could see. He was picked on, brutalized, bullied. He scribbled in notebooks, drawing crucifixes and bleeding eyes, and once told a teacher that God had chosen him for a special purpose. It was at the age of 13 that something snapped in Joseph Kallinger. He was in shop class in high school. He carved open his own thigh with a razor, claiming that a voice in the radiator had told him, "Joseph, make a blood offering to me." Teachers dismissed it as a cry for attention, and they did not want to tell his parents because you couldn't hide the abuse. The bruises on his arms, the black eyes, how sometimes he could barely walk. His gym teacher told him once, "Take those pants off and put shorts on. You'll be a lot more comfortable." But he didn't want to. However, there was one man at the school, one sister, who did tell them what he had done. His adoptive parents whipped him raw with a belt and sent him back to school the next day. Joseph was growing older now, stronger. So he began to retaliate in small ways. Again, viewers' discretion is strongly advised if you're triggered by anything violent. He would kill birds with rocks, pull legs off insects. This part is really hard for me to say, so I'm just going to say this. He tortured stray cats in ways that is hard to imagine. I just cannot say that. And then he would hide them in his toy box. But to outsiders, Joseph was polite, neat, well-dressed, a little odd, maybe, but harmless. That was until he met Hilda. Post your comments. Let those night dwellers know what you think of this story. We are just getting started. Hilda Bergman was 17 when she married Joseph. He was 21, charming in a quiet and intense way. He told her that he wanted something that he had never had, but he would have it with her. When Hilda asked Joseph what it was, "I want a big family," he said. He wanted to build a life away from the pain of his childhood. Hilda was acceptable to that, for she wanted a big family too. She believed him, and by 1956, they had 2 children, then 3, then 5. Behind closed doors, Joseph became exactly like his adoptive father. He beat his children for infractions as small as blinking too much. He ruled the house with silence. They were not allowed to speak at all. And he would have sudden violent outbursts and take it out on the children. Hilda begged him to get help. "Joseph, you can't treat our children like this. They were given to us by God, and we're supposed to raise them the right way. Are you questioning my methods of how I raise my children? They're my children too, Joseph. Please, stop it, or they will not come around us when they're older." Instead, Joseph chose a different way. He became a devout, self-proclaimed prophet. He wrote passages claiming divine authority. He said that God had spoken to him from a young age, and that his voice was only getting louder and louder and more insistent. He said that God told him the world was broken. And then he told him, "Joseph, you are the only one who can purify it." He also began building an altar in the basement. And there, surrounded by candles and a crudely painted eye on the wall, he would force his children to kneel for hours. If they disobeyed him, if they even leaned in a different direction from what he wanted, he would beat them with wooden spoons or leather straps. Eventually, it was too much. Joseph came home one day from work. He had always told Hilda, "Leave the porch light on." But that night, when he pulled up in the driveway, the porch light was off. He knew it. Something was wrong. Indeed, Hilda had had enough. She had had enough of the pain, the fear. She took the children and she left. It was at this point that Joseph's rage began to spiral. But instead of falling apart after Hilda leaving him, he married again, this time to a woman named Betty. They had 2 more children, Joseph Jr., and eventually Michael, the son that he would drag into a vicious spiral of death. When Betty also threatened to leave him because of the child abuse, Joseph faked an attempt at trying to unalive himself, cutting his wrist in the bathroom and writing cryptic Bible verses on the walls in his own blood. That landed him briefly in a psychiatric ward. He was in the hospital for a stint. They called him disillusional, paranoid. But the doctor said very clearly, Joseph Kallinger is not an immediate threat. So they let him go. Joseph returned home. This time, though, he was quiet, controlled, and focused. He told his children that they needed to come in and sit down in the living room, that he had something very important to tell them. Sons, I'm ready. Just as God forced Moses into the wilderness, all of this has been a test. And I'm ready to do as he has commanded. And you are to do it with me. The mission was beginning. What do you think of this story so far? Chilling, isn't it? Chapter 2, The Blood Bond. From the outside, it seemed that Joseph had turned a corner. He ran a small business as a shoemaker in Philadelphia, and neighbors often saw his sons and his other children working beside him. Always polite, always quiet. You would think that he was one of the nicest men on the planet. But the thing is that no one saw what went on behind the closed doors of 2035 East Clearfield Street. By the mid-1970s, Joseph had begun isolating one of his sons. He had chosen Michael. He was 12 years old, his biological child. And Michael reminded Joseph a lot of him when he was his age. Quiet, obedient, willing. He was wide-eyed and he was desperate for his father's approval. And that made him the perfect vessel. Joseph began pulling this 12-year-old boy into his rituals. Now, they were small at first. Prayer circles for hours. Candlelit ceremonies in the basement with only Joseph and Michael. And then Joseph told him it was time for him to be initiated. He told Michael that they were part of a divine plan, chosen by a celestial voice that had spoken to Joseph since he was 5 years old, that lived in the furnace. And the voice told Joseph that he was simply to call him by one name, him. Joseph would ask Michael, "Do you hear him? Did you hear what he just said? Have you heard him yet, son? Have you heard him?" Michael didn't want to get beat anymore. So he replied to his father, "I hear him. I hear him, Father." Good boy. Michael was terrified of Joseph. And so anytime that Joseph asked him a question, "Yes, Daddy, I hear him," Joseph would smile. "Then we're family now. Not just by blood, son, but by purpose." Joseph began to instruct Michael. He taught him how to tie knots, how to use a weapon, a knife, without leaving a mark. He made him practice on animals first. And then he made Michael help him bury Joey, his oldest son. Joseph's plan had been for Joey and Michael to be in on his prophecy. Joseph was 14. He wanted to be called by Joey, and he had begun resisting Joseph's authority. He challenged the rituals. His school counselors were shocked when he told him, "My daddy is a madman." Joey tried to run away once during a thunderstorm. The next day, Joey was gone. Nowhere to be found. Now, when the police questioned Joseph Callinger, he claimed that he'd sent Joey to live with his relatives in Pittsburgh. There was only one problem. Joseph didn't have any relatives. But a week later, a neighbor reported hearing screams from the basement. Police were called, but left after Joseph calmly told them, "We have a son that is troubled, but he's safe. We keep him safe. Would you like to go see him?" The officer looked at Joseph. "No, I'm okay. Just maybe try to help him tone it down just a little bit so he doesn't disturb the peace." "Absolutely, officer." Sometime later, Joseph's body, Joseph Jr., would later be found in a locked trunk in the basement. Nude, decomposing, unmutilated. Michael helped bury the body under Joseph's instructions, and that night they sealed their pact. Joseph told Michael We are blood brothers in something darker than death, son. We have a mission, and we must accomplish it for him. A few weeks later, Joseph told Michael that they had been tasked with a cleansing. They were dirty people, he said, sinners, slaves of Satan hiding in plain sight. And it was his duty and Michael's to purge them. Joseph began to select a list of targets: families, neighbors, strangers in distant cities. He claimed that the directions were given by him. Joseph woke Michael up early one morning. He told him to come down to the basement with him. It was time to pack the supplies. He was excited. It's ready. It's time for us to do what we're supposed to do for him. Do you hear him? Yes, Daddy. They packed their supplies. All the things that would torture. Weapons, handcuffs, a roll of duct tape. Then they got in their car, father and son, blood brothers, prophet and disciple. Chapter 3. The mission begins. Viewer's discretion is strongly advised. The first road trip began on July the 7th, 1974. Joseph and 12-year-old Michael left Philadelphia in Joseph's rusted green Dodge Dart. They carried with them a twisted sense of purpose, a collection of hand-picked tools, not chosen by Joseph, by him. And a small black notebook. Joseph said that he had been told that it would be called the Book of Cleansing. Inside were addresses, names, prayers, sketches, some of targets, others of figures with horns and gaping mouths. Their first destination was Linden, New Jersey. They parked on a back street. The sun was just beginning to rise. Young Michael was shaking. After he had seen what his own father had did to his brother, he was fearful of what he was going to go to. Joseph claimed that he had spoken again. He told Michael they were to seek out the impure. The voice, Joseph said, had named them apostles. Aren't you excited about that, son? He's called us apostles. Nobody else in the world has been chosen by him. Just you. Just me. In a quiet neighborhood just outside of Linden, the two knocked on the door of a stranger. Joseph claimed that they were collecting donations for religious charities. When the homeowner opened the door, Joseph shoved his way in with a weapon in his hand. Inside was an elderly man, a 70-year-old Joseph Kuykendall. Callinger tied him up with Michael's help. He ransacked the house and eventually fled with $20 in loose change and a few personal items, but it wasn't about the money for Joseph. He later told investigators it was never about the money. It was the fear. They were demons. And I had been charged with purifying them. That's the offering. That's what feeds him. Confession. Admitting that you're a sinner, that you're impure. He wasn't too bold yet. That was the first one. Just a robbery. Bruised him up just a little bit. They struck again days later in Baltimore. And this time, it was a mother and her young daughter. Joseph used the same ruse as before. Michael held the girl while Joseph tied up the mother and forced her to beg for her life. He let them too live, but only to spread the word. Let them know the righteous judgment is coming. Will you do that? Mother, terrified for her life, sobbed, I'll do anything you want. Anything you want. Just please, let us live. So he did. Then came Manhattan. They entered a tenement building near Harlem, and it was under the pretense of being plumbers there for a job. Joseph carried a satchel of tools. Michael carried a small weapon in his pocket. Keep in mind that Michael was only 12 years old. They knocked on the apartment of a nurse named Mary, a single woman in her late 30s. Joseph forced his way in her door. He tied Mary to a radiator and he gagged her while Michael watched from the doorway, visibly shaking. Mary tried to scream through the gag, and Joseph responded by cutting a lock of her hair and placing it in his notebook. This is a symbol. Do you understand? And then he whispered, of your soul's dead. Before leaving, he kissed her forehead and told her, you should be thankful to him. You've been spared by his grace alone. Michael said many years later that night he cried in the car, alone, terrified and scared. Joseph slapped him across the face and said, if you're weak, boy, he'll take you instead. Don't disobey him. So the spree had begun, but the worst was yet to come. Chapter 4, The House of Horrors. Let me get a sip. By late July 1974, Joseph Callender's descent was rapid. He was no longer content with the simple break-ins. He wanted to escalate because he felt like he wasn't speaking to him as he used to. We've disappointed him. We've disappointed him, Michael. We have to prove to him that we're obedient and that we're worthy of carrying out divine justice. He needs witnesses. He needs sinners. The next target would be chosen from his little black book that he claimed he had written. It was a quiet row house in Leonia, New Jersey, the home of a 21-year-old Maria Fashing, a nurse, newly married, her first baby on the way. Joseph saw the listing in the church bulletin and smiled. She's clean, untouched. We'll fix that. July the 28th, 1974 at 3:15 p.m. Joseph and Michael posed as inspectors. Maria answered the door with a hesitant smile. Can I help you? Ma'am, we're with the water department. There's been reports of a contamination issue. Oh, I hadn't heard about that. Can we come in and take a look? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, with you being in the motherly way and all, we want to make sure that problem's fixed. Of course. Come on in. The kitchen is right through here. Once inside, Joseph pulled the weapon from its pocket and he aimed it at her face. Michael closed the door behind them. He ordered Maria into the living room. He forced her to lie on the floor and bound her hands with electrical tape. "Don't worry," Joseph whispered. "I'm doing this for you, to protect you from the evil that is festering inside of you." Michael sat motionless, his eyes darting toward the door. Joseph began reciting prayers, his hands trembling. He made the sign of the cross over Maria's forehead. And then he pulled out a weapon. Maria began to toss and scream when he approached. He muffled her with a gag. He took the weapon and repeatedly attacked her with it. 12 times. Michael stared, frozen. He raised up and stood over her, screaming. He had already unalived her. "Say it!" he shouted. "Say you believe now. Say you're clean." Maria never got the chance. Her final sounds were garbled gasp, her eyes wide with terror and confusion as her life ebbed out of her. Her baby, unborn, nameless, passed with her. Before leaving, Joseph took a scrap of her blood-soaked dress and folded it neatly into his notebook. They returned to Philadelphia and burned their clothing in the alley behind their house. And that night, Joseph forced Michael to kneel at the foot of the bed and recite the cleansing prayer for 3 hours straight. Michael later said that he vomited midway through. Joseph made this 12-year-old boy eat the pages of the prayer from the notebook as punishment. This was no longer about ritual. It was bloodlust, escalation, and Joseph was just getting started. Let's take a 5-minute intermission to give you a little bit of a break. Let me know in the comments what you think of this terrible person. Indeed, a monster. The thing that I love about this live, it is interactive and you can interact with your other night dwellers in there. And then I'm going to come back with the next portion of the story. 5 minutes. Hey, Mia. Hey, Kimmy. Hey, Sherry. How are you? Looks like y'all are having a good time over there. Hey, Truth. How are you? Good conversation over there. So now let me see what we are dealing with over here. Hello, Debbie. How are you? Hey, Firefly. Hey, Melissa. Um, Melissa, this is the Joseph Callinger serial unaliver story. And unfortunately true. Let's keep pushing, pushing, pushing. I would like to be at 300K before we start the next portion of it. So let's go. Let's start doing it. We got some work to do. Let's tap, 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 tap. We can do it. Thank you so much for the likes. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you for the follows. Thank you for the shares. I've seen you sharing the live video. Thank you so much for that. Hey, Jules. I hope you're enjoying it, y'all. All of you that are new here. This is what Twisted Tales Live is. We go deep, we go dark. Oh, thank you. Can you, I just want to just ask you this. I mean, can you believe that he subjected a 12-year-old boy to this? When I was first asked to do the story, I really hesitated on it a lot. I was just like, oh my goodness. But then other people started to ask too. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. But it's just horrible. There's parts of it that I just cannot read. I just cannot. Let's hit that 300K. Hello, Zena Decker. How are you? You like scary stories? And the thing is, I know. I get that a lot, Cindy Minnie. I hate the story, but I love your storytelling. I'm glad that you like it. This is definitely a tough one, for sure. Let's go, let's go, let's go. I know, right? Just terrible. Just I don't know. I don't know. And they did make a movie on this. I forget what the name of it is, but it has Matthew McConaughey in it, and it has Bill Paxton. It is like an all-star cast. I cannot remember what the name of it is to save my life at this moment. But they made a movie about it, and it's just horrible. Hey, Magic Moon. Very sad. Very. Thank you for sharing on the FYP. Thank you for posting viewers discretion advised. Thank you so much for that, Pom Mom. Thank you all. Oh yeah. Does anyone know what the name of that movie is? Uh, I could look it up. And, you know, while I'm at it, let me also, that's him. Joseph Callinger. That's him. And um, this is the picture that he's the most notorious for. And let me see if I, there it is. Frailty. That is the name of it. It's called Frailty, and it's a tremendous movie. Um, Spelled Frailty. But it's got Bill Paxton, Matthew McConaughey, um, so that is the movie. Shocking. It shocked me at the end, and I never knew that it was based on, I just thought it was Hollywood, but it was based on the story of Joseph Callinger. So, where are we? I had no idea, Palm. I had no idea. Um, I mean, some say that he was mentally ill. But you know, I had to think about what his adopted parents did to him. Do you think it was born in him, or do you think he was made into the monster? I mean they put him through tremendous torture and agony. What are your thoughts on that? That's right. It's all he knew. You know, and I just hear too many of these stories, and it all, like the majority of them are the parents. Sadistic and cruel, and I mean, not to say that, you know, not all of them, that's not a story. I mean, like Ted Bundy, you know, but um, I just cannot help but think he was made. If the boy had been shown love and had been raised with a family that loved him, what would he have became? Right. It's horrible. It is just absolutely horrible, and I don't know. I don't know. This one's tough. This one's tough on me. Hello, this bitch Sam. Thank you for the follow. Thank you so, so much. Tonight we are telling the story of Joseph Callinger, a serial unaliver of the worst sort. And my question to you tonight is, do you believe that he was born with this, or was he made to become the monster that he was? I am going to continue the rest of the story now. But first, after taking a little bit of an intermission, and I went and hugged my kitty cat. I was like, come here, Citrine, let mommy hold you. Let's lower those lights. Light a candle for ambiance. Lock your doors again. Pull those curtains nice and tight. Wrap that blanket back around you, because it's about to get even darker still. Go ahead and share the live. Can someone let me know where we are with the likes? I'm not starting till we're at 300K. Let's do this. Tap, tap, tap. $247K. Thank you, Cindy Minnie. Thank you, Jules, for sharing the live. Thank you, James, for sharing the live. Teamwork makes it work. Everyone, let's tap. I'm tapping the screen too, y'all. Tapping activates that algorithm and pushes this out on the FYP so that more will be able to come in and join Twisted Tales Live and become Night Dwellers. While we are doing that, let me see if I can go in and do some thank yous. I would like to thank the following Night Dwellers: Spicy Joe, Shirley Thurby, Cindy Minnie, Jules, Karen Coleman France, how are you, darling? Snow T, Ask Me, LOL. Every time I see that, I laugh. Tanya Jean Recovery. Demon Souls, Cressy, Spitfire, Zoe-Ann, Debbie. Thank you all. Rose, Kerry King, Magic Moon, Janet Cookie, Pamela, Leslie Marie. Thank you, thank you. Gracie, Palm on One, Roby, Jim Rocks. Thank you, thank you. Amber, A Marine's Daughter, Cece, Ebon, Ebony Eyes, love it. Judy, Queen Angel, Amy, and Julie, thank you so much. Live goal is up here, Twisted Trinket goal here. We haven't met it quite yet. Let's keep going on that. And then over here in the Bewitched Boutique, do what the moon calls you to do, whether it is a large gift or a small gesture. All tokens are greatly appreciated and go toward keeping this live alive and thriving. Have we hit 250 yet? Oh, we're getting closer. 300K, 300K, let's do it. Thank you for the FYP. Thank you, thank you. Tracy, thank you. Thank you, Tracy. Enjoying it over there in YouTube. Just thank you for the gift. We are going for a record number of likes. Last night was one of our biggest nights ever. I know that it was, what was it? Like 320K, I believe. So let's keep going, going, going. This live, this audience, my night dwellers, you're the best. You are absolutely the best. You truly, truly are. And I want to bring you the best content, the best lives, and I am striving to do that every day. Oh, you like this one? Thank you, James. Thank you, thank you. And there is so many exciting things that are coming to you. Merch, books, autographed, signed. Consider becoming a subscriber. You get perks. You get a subscribers. I'm going to start doing subscriber only videos. I'm also going to be doing meet and greets for subscribers only. A lot of things are headed your way. So just hang on, working out a few of the kinks right now, and then it will be on the way. I am planning on showing more merch tomorrow night on the Wheel of Fate night. Don't forget the Wheel of Fate tomorrow night. Let the Wheel of Fate decide the stories I tell on Twisted Tales Live. Tomorrow night, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern. Thank you, James. Thank you for that. Can someone update me where we are? $280. Let's keep going, y'all. I am tapping like crazy. I have family tapping like crazy. Let's get this done. I tell you, when I ask my night watchers to come together for the Queen of Shadows, you do it. And I appreciate you all so much. You miss Blood in the Snow. There are a lot that miss Blood in the Snow, for sure. But I am working on the Crimson Queen, and stay tuned. I'm playing actually some of Blood in the Snow music in the background. I don't know if you noticed it, but thank you, Kimmy. Thank you, Night Watchers, for pushing and pinning. Thank you so, so much. Oh, thank you, Gracie. I'm so glad that you enjoy it. And I just want to keep bringing you more and more and more stories told like you've never heard them before. Fantastic. Did you know that when I see those likes, and you're just tapping away, more and more people come in. For those of you who have came in and followed tonight, or you just came in and joined, can you let us know where you saw us? We are in the process of growing, and we want to be known as the Scary Story Community worldwide. So, did you hear it on another social platform? Did you see content that brought you here? Was it on the FYP? Let us know. That way I know where we need to plant. You were scrolling through the live, Cindy Minnie? Well, I can tell you that I love having you in here. You are radiant. Let's keep going. We are going to have special guests in the future. Everyone loved it when Santa Paranormal was on here. Stay tuned. Absolutely, Cindy Minnie. Keep tapping. Tap, tap, tap. The second part of Joseph Callinger, Serial Unaliver. $300K. Very good. Good job. You know what my goal is? I want to see 400K. So keep tapping. Tap away. We can do this. We're going to break the record tonight for the most likes. Let's do this. Oh, Gracie, I'm so glad you're here. So glad. Just another beam of light. Chapter 5. The Face of God. Joseph Callinger claimed that on the night of Maria Fashing's murder, he saw the face of God. That's what he said. But his version of God was not the loving figure told in Sunday school stories. It was a fractured, grotesque thing. One with many eyes and a mouth and a body made of snakes and bone. In his later years, he said, he told me that I was chosen. He called me his son. No one had ever called me that before. Michael sat curled in the corner of the dark bedroom that night. His hands were trembling. He hadn't spoken a word since they had returned from Leonia. Joseph paced the room, Bible in one hand, blood-stained weapon in the other. And he was excited. We are cleansing the world, Michael. We're his apostles. One soul at a time. One soul at a time. Be ready. Be vigilant. He will need us again. And then the hallucinations began. Neighbors reported that Joseph had become more erratic in the weeks after his first murder. He was seen shouting at windows, digging holes in the backyard, and smearing red paint, at least what appeared to be paint, on the back of his house in ritual symbols. He told one shopkeeper, "The angels are coming. I've seen them. But you think they have fluffy, fluttery wings. No, they have blades for wings, and they're going to cut out the sin and the rot." He told Michael that their work was far from over. "Now we begin the mass ritual, Apostle Michael," he said. "We need more bodies. We're not creating enough fear. We have to make him grow stronger. And the only way we can do that is by cleansing." The preparation began. Joseph packed a suitcase with rope, duct tape, weapons. He made Michael memorize a list of verses from Leviticus and Exodus, scriptures about obedience and sacrifice. Every night, Michael had to repeat them back, word for word, or Joseph would beat the living daylights out of him. The worst was when Joseph carved symbols into Michael's chest with a razor blade while whispering, "This is your armor, Apostle Michael." Michael was fearful that they were planning something really big. Really big. The next target, a family in suburbia. This time, Joseph picked a middle-class home in Lindenwold, New Jersey. It was a family of 5. He'd been watching them for weeks, watching their schedules, keeping notes on when the husband came home, when the wife went to the grocery store. A father, a mother, 3 children, all under the age of 10. On the night of August the 9th, he told Michael, "Tonight, we will be acceptable in his sight. Tonight, the world begins to tremble as we clean the thrashing floor. Are you ready, Apostle Michael?" Michael gulped. "Yes, Daddy." They dressed in all black, wore gloves, and approached the house just before midnight. Joseph rang the doorbell while Michael waited in the bushes. But this time the door wasn't answered. Joseph knocked harder, more desperate. He had been told by him that this was the family. "Answer me," he hissed. "Answer him!" A dog barked from inside. A light flicked on upstairs. But Joseph panicked. He wasn't ready to face the man again. Not yet. He was hoping that the wife would come to the door. She would have been more easily overpowered. but something had changed in him. He was no longer trying to act in secret. He was seeking recognition, worship, validation, and he knew the next ritual had to be bigger, it had to be bloodier, and it had to be public. That family managed to escape terror, torture. Chapter 6, The Mass Hostage Ritual. November the 22nd, 1974, Easton, Pennsylvania. It was a cold Friday afternoon when Joseph Callinger and his 12-year-old son, Michael, stepped into the suburban distribution shoe store under the guise of interested customers. Joseph, now fully convinced that he was carrying out a holy mission, had told Michael that they would be selecting people for cleansing. The store was managed by a 21-year-old man named Leroy Hedrick. He was a recent college graduate and a newlywed, and he greeted them with a warm smile that morning. However, that smile would vanish within minutes. Joseph pulled a weapon from his coat and announced, "This is the beginning of the ritual. You are now instruments," he said. "Be grateful. He has chosen you." Michael, shaking, locked the door behind them as his father instructed. Joseph forced Leroy and 4 other people, employees and customers, into the back stockroom, brandishing a weapon. And then he began his terrifying sermon. The purification begins. Joseph made the 4 kneel. He quoted scripture. He asked them to renounce their sins. And then, as if obeying some sort of eternal cue, he began to bind them. Hands, mouths, ankles. One young woman, 18 years old, her name was Joanne, she began to cry. Joseph stroked her hair and whispered, "Don't be afraid, my child. You're about to be born again." He pressed the weapon to the middle of her forehead. Michael winced, covered his ears. He had done this before, but never like this. There had never been a room full of pleading people. Not when the blood could soak the carpet so easily. However, when he went to unalive her, it misfired. Joseph screamed in rage, and he took the weapon and whipped her across the face with it, splitting her eyebrow open. "He's testing me," he screamed. "He's testing my resolve. I am here. I will do what you want me to do." Leroy Hedrick wasn't so lucky. Joseph was mad now. He dragged him to the center of the room and forced him to lie face down. Michael later described the moment in court. He said he wants a sacrifice. And then he just unalived him in the back of the head. Leroy passed instantly. His life pulled beneath them as the others screamed through their gags. Joseph turned to Michael. Do you see that? That is what obedience looks like, Apostle Michael. Did you see that? He's pleased with me. The aftermath. They ransacked the store. They stole $20 in bills and they fled in Leroy's own car. Hours later, police found the scene. The others survived, but would never be the same. Michael didn't speak for 2 days. He was haunted by vicious nightmares. Joseph called it a glorious offering that had been accepted by him. And he wasn't finished. He began talking of a final task, a true sacrifice. Michael knew what was coming. December 1974, Chapter 7, The Unaliving of a Son. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The rituals were becoming more erratic, more sadistic, and more targeted toward Michael. Joseph no longer needed strangers. He was beginning to focus inward, believing his own family harbored satanic rot, is what he called it, and that it needed purging. He started referring to his sons as broken vessels. And as I told you a little earlier in the story, he had one in particular in mind, and that was Joey Jr. Joey was 14, as I said. He was rebellious, he was defiant, and he was brave. He didn't fear Joseph like Michael did. Joey had started to resist his father's orders, refusing to participate in the nightly cleansing rituals and prayers, and refusing to eat the sanctified bread Joseph made by mixing flour with his own blood. Joey had become dangerous to Joseph's delusions. One night in the basement, Joseph pulled Michael toward him. He's infected, you know. He needs to be sent home. Daddy, this is his home. No, son. He needs to be sent home to him. Michael begged him to stop for days. Daddy, he's your son too, just like I am. Joseph glared at him. So was Isaac. But Abraham did what he was told. January the 8th, 1975. Joseph told Michael to go to the abandoned warehouse near his home. He would be along shortly with Joey. Michael waited in the cold, damp dark. He sat behind stacked pallets, chewing the insides of his cheeks raw from nerves. He could hear rats in the corners, dripping pipes, the occasional far-off siren of a police car or an ambulance. He knew what was coming. He had seen it before, but never like this. Never his own family And then there were the footsteps. Joey was pushed in. Joseph had blindfolded him, hands tied. Joseph followed. Joseph followed behind Joey, the weapon in his hand and another weapon in the other. Michael, hold him down. Michael shook his head. You either hold him down or I cleanse you of sin. Joseph aimed the weapon at Michael. Hold him down. And Michael did it. The ritual execution. Joey screamed. He fought. He cursed. Joseph did terrible things to him. And then in the side, he attacked him. He paused, breathing heavily as blood poured from Joey's mouth, and Joey was still alive. So Joseph put the other weapon to his son's temple, and he unalived him. Joey's body jerked once, Michael said, and then there was nothing. Michael collapsed to the floor, sobbing. Joseph stood over them both, raised his hands to the rafters, and shouted, "The Lord is satisfied. The Son has returned to him." Joseph buried Joey's body under a pile of scrap metal, poured gasoline nearby, and set a small fire to obscure evidence. And that night he sat at the dinner table and told his wife, after she had questioned, "Where is Joey? Where is he? It's dark." I think the boy ran away. No one questioned it until police began to connect the dots between the shoe store unaliving and the now missing boy. Joseph would soon be hunted. But first, there was one last bloodletting. Chapter 8, The Arrest. January the 17th, 1975, Baltimore, Maryland. The manhunt had begun. Following the murder of Leroy Hedrick and the disappearance of Joseph's own son, Joseph Jr., police were piecing together slowly, bit by bit, a string of brutal attacks, all involving a man and a young boy. Witnesses across 3 states, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and now Maryland, reported a disturbing pattern. A doorbell, a father, and a son, then a robbery, a sermon, and then blood. Joseph and Michael were fugitives. But Joseph didn't behave like a man on the run. He believed that his mission wasn't finished yet. He told Michael they were going to do one more cleansing. They had one more offering to make before they would be ascended to him. They checked into a rundown motel just outside Baltimore, and that night Joseph locked the door, made Michael kneel on the carpet, and began what he called the final prayer. Michael didn't want to kneel anymore, though. He had watched his brother be unalived by his own father. He had watched strangers be tortured. He had listened to his father chant scripture while bleeding from his palms. He couldn't take it anymore. So he did what terrified, broken boys sometimes do. He ran. At 4:30 a.m., barefoot and crying, Michael burst into a police station in downtown Baltimore. He was hysterical and rambling. He kills people. He's got the devil in his head. The officers weren't sure what he meant, what to believe, until Michael began naming names, giving addresses, recounting the shoe store, the priest's house, and then he whispered, "My brother, Joey, he unalived him and I had to hold him down." Later that same morning, a SWAT team surrounded the motel. Joseph was found lying in bed, fully dressed, hands behind his head, waiting. He didn't resist. He smiled. He looked at an officer and said, "Oh, you finally heard him, too?" In the room, investigators found everything that they needed: weapons, rope, religious books scribbled over with frenzied notes, and dozens of Polaroids of young Michael, some bound, some gagged, many just asleep, evidence of manipulation, control, and likely abused even. They also found what appeared to be a note. "I have did what he asked. The lambs are in his hands now." In custody, Joseph was arrogant, condescending, and unhinged. He told detectives that he was a prophet, that the killings were scripture being fulfilled. He laughed when he was asked about Joey Jr. "I gave him back to God. I did a good thing." He called Michael his sword. And when asked if he felt remorse, he said, "Only that the world didn't understand. But you will when the skies darken and the angels come." Michael, meanwhile, was placed in juvenile detention, where he was monitored closely for signs of trauma, mental illness, and guilt. And the truth, it was all still unraveling. Chapter 9, Trial of a Madman. September 1975, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The court was silent when Joseph Callinger was let in. His wrists cuffed, his face unreadable. He wore a blue suit and a cross around his neck. He looked more like a pastor than a killer. But in the eyes of prosecutors, he was something far worse. He was a father who used his son as a weapon. a unaliver who killed in God's name, a man who orchestrated a string of brutal crimes across 3 states, and now justice had finally arrived. Joseph's legal team immediately pushed for an insanity defense. They argued that he suffered from schizophrenia, severe psychosis, and years of institutional abuse. They produced letters that he had written in prison to him, filled with prophecies and delusions of grandeur. In one letter, he claimed, "My blood is holy, my pain divine. Each life I take is another nail in Satan's coffin." The prosecutors countered with something far more chilling: intent. They showed how calculated that Joseph's actions were, how he selected victims, planned rituals, carried weapons, how he manipulated Michael, choreographed violence, and attempted to erase evidence. They played Michael's taped confession, and they told the jury what Joseph did to Joey Jr. The boy who once wept in the warehouse now stood in front of 12 strangers, trembling. He recounted the shoe store killing, the long nights locked in basements, the torture of strangers, the final moments of his brother's life. He explained how his father said that they were chosen, and how refusing meant one thing, and it terrified Michael when Joseph said it. It meant eternal damnation. The courtroom wept, but not Joseph. He smiled through the whole testimony, and he even mouthed to Michael, "Good boy." After weeks of testimony, the jury found Joseph Callinger guilty of first-degree unaliving of Joey Jr., second-degree murder of Leroy Hedrick, kidnapping, armed robbery, conspiracy. He was sentenced to life in prison without parole in Pennsylvania, and later a second life term in New Jersey. Michael, though originally charged, was granted immunity due to overwhelming evidence of coercion, trauma, and manipulation. He was placed under psychological care until he turned 21, and then he was released under a new identity. Joseph was transferred to Trenton State Hospital, deemed mentally ill, but not incompetent. And even in his padded cell, Joseph claimed he was still working for the Lord. He promised one final prophecy before he passed. Chapter 10, The Prophecy and the End. Trenton State Hospital, 1990s. Joseph Callinger's world shrank to a padded room and a worn Bible. He spent his days pacing, muttering scriptures rewritten in his own hand. Pages and pages of his journals were filled with what he called the Final Testament. He claimed that the unalivings had only been the beginning, that his true purpose had not yet been fulfilled. He wrote, "Michael failed the test, but I will finish the war, even from the dark." He was no longer allowed contact with any of his children, not even by letter, but he did try. He tried to send cryptic postcards to old attorneys warning them of a second cleansing. Life in isolation. Joseph refused medication. He believed it clouded his divine connection to him. Instead, he screamed for hours, scratched messages into the floor with his fingernails, and occasionally smeared blood on his walls during what he called offerings. Staff described him as unhinged, extremely intelligent, manipulative, and always watching. He was moved from general population into high security after attempting to attack a nurse with a sharpened spoon. He claimed that she was a vessel for the devil. In 1996, weeks before his passing, Joseph told a psychologist, "I have one more to bring home, and then he'll call me back." He never said who. He passed shortly after, suffering from heart failure, alone in his cell. No visitors, no ceremony. When staff searched his room, they found hundreds of pages. Some biblical quotes, some letters to Michael, but one stood out. "I am the sword, the fire, the voice in the dark. I die, but the bloodline lives on. Look for the eyes. He will be born again." They never figured out what that meant. Joseph Callinger left behind more than just destroyed lives and bodies. He left trauma, silence, and fear. Michael disappeared into the witness protection system, his identity sealed. No one knows where he is today. Some say he lives quietly under a new name. Others believe he never escaped his father's voice. And Joey Jr., his grave remains unmarked, his story often overshadowed by the one who unalived him. But for those who remember, this wasn't just a story of a madman. It was the story of a family consumed by one. A belief twisted into murder, of a child used as a weapon, and of the haunting truth that some monsters don't live in nightmares. They live at home. And that is the chilling story of serial unaliver Joseph Callinger. There were some other victims that he had that were just so brutal that I just could not put it in the story. So that is it. I want to thank everyone who has been here tonight and listened to the story, who has tapped, who has followed. You have a home here, and we are so happy to welcome you in. It was absolutely horrific. She did not want any type of association with Joseph Callinger or anything like that. She refused any type of an interview, and I really um, cannot blame her. He never attacked his wives. It was always the children. I am telling you, Tonya, that the movie is just horrific. It is horrific, but it does have a good cast. And oh, what a shocking ending. Oh my goodness. It was tough. 415K likes. What the heck? I believe so. Yes. Bill Paxton is the father. A Tiki Talk record, James. Yes. Now you know. We can't go back from that. We hit the biggest goal we've ever had. And it was because of you. It was all because of you. Michael was able to escape. He was put into a witness protection program, had his identity changed, and no one has heard from him. Hey there, Toxic. Thank you. He did. Bill Paxton played it. And I am just telling you, you've got to watch it. I mean, it is, it's chilling. It is chilling. Thank you, James. Thank you. I know, sending many. 420K. Amazing. If I was him, I would completely live off the grid. I would just, no. I just would not be able to do it. So remember, tomorrow night, 7 o'clock p.m., meet and greet, a whole hour with the Night Queen. Come in, say hello, and then after that, the Wheel of Fate will spin. Let me see. I want to say, I think it was on, let me see. What did I say the name of it was? Frailty. When there's also a documentary. Amazon, I believe. I think it's on there. Let me look up Frailty. I'll tell you here in just a minute. It was made in 2001. It says that it's dark, sinister, and chilling. I can testify to that. Amazon, I believe. Prime. I'm pretty sure. Hey, Ray-Bab. You found it and ready? It's chilling. It is very chilling. There was also a documentary on it. It's on there for a limited time only. Oh, wow. Oh, it's on Tubi for free? Oh my goodness, no, I didn't know that. Hey, Lulu. Yeah, frailty. I would highly recommend it, but I like scary movies, so um, anyway, thank you so much for sticking with me. I am really enjoying bringing you one solid, very in-depth, engrossing story to where I don't feel like I'm having to rush through parts of it and able to bring it all to you. So I hope that you are enjoying the new format. For the Wheel of Fate, though, however, I haven't decided yet. Will we let the Wheel of Fate choose one story? Maybe. Do you like this more immersive experience into one story? Love you all. Love you, Love you, Martha. You like it? Good. You know what you're gonna watch? It's good. It is really, really good. Hello, W. Murphy. I'm so glad you do. I have heard that before. Thank you, W. Murphy. So I feel like it's just better and you really get an immersive experience and the whole story. You're getting the whole double whopper with cheese, fries, and drink, as opposed to a kiddie meal. And with that, it's time to say good night. But we do it differently here. For those of you who are here for the first time, night dwellers, hush. The hour grows late. The veil is thin. The hands of fate now curl around your worry soul, where dreams slip deep in dark control. The candles flicker, cold winds bite, and something stirs beyond your sight. You felt it there, behind your screen. A whisper from your shadowed queen. I reign where moonlight dares not gleam. The ruler of your last long dream. With crown of thorns and voice of flame, the queen of shadows speaks your name. So bow your head and lock your door. The dead still walk and beg for more. And when the dark begins to see, you'll know you gave your fears to me in the darkest corridors of your nightmares. You belong to me. You do.